How does Karl Marx explain use value versus exchange value? Imagine walking into a market and seeing a shiny apple and a fancy watch. Both are commodities, but they serve very different roles in our economy. This is where Karl Marx's ideas about use value and exchange value come into play. Marx was a key thinker in the foundations of socialism, and understanding his view helps us see how capitalism shapes our world. Marx said that use value is about how useful a commodity is. It's the practical side, how well it satisfies a human need. For example, a coat keeps you warm, and a loaf of bread fills your stomach. Use value depends on the physical qualities of the item and how it meets your needs. Without use value, a product has no purpose and no worth. It's the basic usefulness that makes a commodity valuable in everyday life. Now, exchange value is different. It's about how much of one thing you can trade for another. Think of swapping a coat for a certain number of loaves of bread. Exchange value is not about how useful the coat is but about its worth in the market. Marx explained that this value is based on the amount of socially necessary labor needed to produce the item. Socially necessary labor means the average time it takes to make something under normal conditions with average skill. So, if it takes 2 hours to make a coat and 4 hours to make a loaf of bread, the coat has a higher exchange value because it embodies less labor. Marx emphasized that exchange value is an abstraction from use value. When commodities are exchanged, their physical qualities are ignored. Instead, they are compared based on the amount of labor they contain. This allows different kinds of goods, like a car and a pair of shoes, to be exchanged because they are both measured by the labor involved in making them. In capitalism, these two aspects are connected but also in conflict. Use value is about the real usefulness of goods, but exchange value turns commodities into social symbols of labor. This focus on exchange value drives production for profit rather than for meeting human needs. It also leads to social inequalities because some commodities are valued more based on labor and market conditions, not their usefulness. From a socialist point of view, Marx argued that production should focus on use value, making things that truly serve people, rather than just chasing exchange value for profit. This shift could reduce exploitation and social inequality. Marx's ideas reveal that under capitalism, commodities are more than just useful objects. They are part of a social system driven by labor and market relations. So, in simple terms, use value is about how useful something is, and exchange value is about how much it's worth in trade. Marx's distinction helps us see how capitalism turns everyday objects into symbols of labor and profit, often at the expense of what people really need.